calling from home.
Hi, David.
Hey, Nathan.
About Steven. Steven online with us?
Yep, I'm here.
Alright. Justin, are you on with us?
Justin.
There's Justin. Okay, looks like we got all of our council members. Alright, I think everybody's here that needs to be here. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. This time we'll introduce our visitors. If we try to do it one by one.
Margie Hall with the Lincoln County EDC.
Hey, Margie.
Marge Wallace.
Anita Hall.
Marge and Denise.
Sherry McClellan.
Sherry. Okay. Sounds like that's it for now. Go ahead and our agenda and our agenda item, CRF on Justin and Steven. I'll do kind of the same as I did last time and kind of give you guys the floor. Margie, do you want to go first, or do you have anything that you want to speak to us about right off the bat?
Well, I did get a chance to talk to Commerce about the uses that we talked about at the last meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and cover that.
That'd be great. Don't mind.
Okay. I was hoping to talk to Tony Hansen, but I was unable to talk to him, but I did get a call back from Trig Hoff, and he is Commerce Program Manager for the county, the county's program. So he said, I asked about the $500 to reimburse utilities to the businesses, that piece, right?
Yep.
So Trig said that business assistance must go through a grant process. It has to show COVID impact, and it has to be based on expenses already incurred. So I argued that the paid utilities being reimbursed were expenses that were already incurred with proof of payment already in the hands of the city. And he said it looks too much like replacing revenue loss, which is not an eligible use. So I suggest to the council that you use a grant process that accepts utilities as an eligible reimbursable expense and just go about it in a different way. And
would that be something I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, today I did send Janice the application that we're using for Odessa so that you could, you don't have to try and do it tonight, but so that you guys could look at it and see what you think and know that it asks the questions that are necessary to meet the CRF criteria without asking for financial information, and it just covers the key points that they want covered. So there's a sample available for you to look at.
Okay, great. Thank you for that.
Yep.
What was my question I had about
And
this?
Nathan, I forwarded you that email.
Okay, thank you. I'm not feeling too hot. I'm struggling a little bit here, guys. I apologize.
Take your time.
I don't know. I had a question for you.
I have a question.
Now,
This is Peter speaking.
I have a question for
Good.
Margie. Thank you for all the information you've shared with the council, Margie. It's proven to be very useful. But did I understand you to say, I'm a little hard of hearing, sometimes words drop out. Did you say there's a formal application available, a blank application that we can use for business
Well,
enterprises?
It's the one that I developed for Odessa because they're going to use their CRF funding for small business grants. So I have meticulously tried to make sure that it covers every base without being intrusive or scaring people off. So, because we want people to apply, because we want to help businesses, because this is no fault of theirs. I want people, businesses to understand that we understand that. So I want to make it easy, but yeah, it's a sample that I developed for Odessa. That the Commerce is not providing applications. You're left to your own. You're left on your own to create the application.
To what? The application?
To develop our own applications.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're not providing applications for small business grant programs for CRF funding. We have to make our own.
I know the one question I had, Margie, with your experience with Odessa or maybe even another city or town, how have they decided to break up those funds? Have they decided, kind of in a general consensus, have they decided to take their entire allotted amount and give to businesses, or are they covering their costs and then have a certain amount set aside to do that, or how are they, after the grant process, how are they deciding how much and how to dispense those funds?
Odessa is using theirs 100% for small business grants. They're the only city in town that is. Everyone else I've talked to is covering their expenses first. Absolutely. A couple are getting some new updated computer equipment, so they're more prepared for Zoom meeting and that kind of thing. And then what's left they're using for small business.
Okay.
This is Peter. I have a question for Margie. One of my core concerns is the Opera House Society, I should say. And we discussed this issue while you were on the line a week ago during the last special council meeting. Does the Opera House, or anybody else can chime in on this, does the Opera House qualify for financial benefit out of this money?
Do you know if they have, are they registered with this state? Like, do they have a universal, for this money, no. Because, are they a nonprofit?
Yes.
I don't know whether it's a state nonprofit or a federal 501c3 nonprofit.
But this money is not for nonprofits. This is for businesses forced to close. However, there is other funding that is available, and I do have the Opera House on my affected business list.
Oh, good.
Yes.
You're a step ahead of me. Thank you for doing that, Margie.
I also have some money coming that is has to go to chambers or other businesses that do, try to bring money into the community. And I think that might be something that we could work with the Harrington Chamber to make sure that they got some. Maybe do a split or something.
Is that out of the same 25,000, or is that a different
No.
funding?
Totally different funding.
Okay.
So that won't affect our 25,000 yet dispersed here.
No. Totally different funding from the same big pot, but it's coming straight to to me.
And are you in touch with, did you say, with the Opera House Society directly?
I have not, but I have them on my list to contact when the funding comes available
Okay.
so that they can apply.
Should we nudge the Opera House Society then to get in touch with you?
You can. My only thing is that I don't have the full criteria for that funding yet. It says chambers, and so I may have to have the chamber apply and then give the chamber extra money for them to then help the Opera House type of thing. So, kind of goofy. Every little pot of money has different criteria. But that won't affect yours at all. But yours is all yours to spend. Your 25 is safe. No one else can make a decision about your 25 but you guys.
Okay. Well, we appreciate it, Margie. Thank you. But,
You're
I guess one question I have going forward would be, you and mainly to the council is to make a decision on, obviously, getting the list together. We've incurred small amounts of expenses so far, but not to say that we couldn't plan for some other expenses that we, you mentioned like computer updates or anything else like that, is get an amount of money that we want to go to the small businesses. And then at that point, would you recommend then going kind of through the same process that you've done with Odessa as far as your getting those applications out and then having those businesses apply directly to the EDC?
I would. Because it removes you from the whole confidentiality problem and the whole public records problem. I definitely would. Anybody comes up mad, they're mad at us, not you.
Okay.
And what we're doing with Odessa right now is they're going to have a three-week application window so that there's plenty of opportunity for people to apply. We put an announcement in their billing insert. We're having the chamber send out an additional announcement with that application attached. And they have a Facebook page. They're going to put it on there. And then the applications are going to come straight to the EDC. They can pick them up at City Hall or they can get them off our website. And then they're to return them directly to the EDC. We'll vet them, make sure they're eligible. We'll make a recommendation to the city, and then the city will write the check.
Okay. All right, great.
Yeah.
So, I guess, council, do you guys... Go ahead.
Okay, Margie, I just want to... This is David. Thank you so much for your input tonight.
You're welcome.
Very well appreciated. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good deal.
I guess the question that I would have the council
go ahead.
how to go with deciding on that amount of money, whether we want to do that tonight, have the committee work on it and decide on an amount right now, or go forward and then choose an amount that the city would need, and then go forward with choosing how much we want to disperse to the small businesses, or how we want to go about that. So I kind of asked this question to the council of how they want to go about that.
Hey, Nathan, this is David.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think we're on the right track. We need to revisit this. We need to get back, and I think the whole council needs to be involved in this. Just not one or two, or three or four. Just all of us in a think tank, and put our heads together and come up with something that'll solve everything here. And I think we can do that. I don't know how we're going to do that with how we're meeting, but I think all the council members need to be involved in this, as well as the mayor.
Okay. Do you have any ideas at this time, Dave, how you would like any preliminary ideas how like this amount decided on?
I do, but Margie followed all of my pretense, what's allowed and what isn't from the Treasury and Social Security Department and what expenditures, and I think we're going to have to replay the tape again. We're going to sit down and disseminate this. What is allowed for expenditures, and we're going to have to sit down and figure out applications from people of what it is. We're going to have to. That's why the think tank. We're going to have to come up with something. Who is and who isn't. You know. She can help with this, but I think that's where we're at right now, because there is a reporting process to this, and I think I'll let rest it all. I yield.
This is Peter. I have a comment. Thank you for your comment, David. It's not entirely clear to me what discretion the city has with the funds that are left over after we've reimbursed businesses. What authority do we have dispersing those funds, and did somebody else do that, or did Margie?
Well, I think like Margie explained, what we were doing is having so the city can reimburse themselves for any incurred expenses or come up with ideas of expenses that we would need to move forward. Say it was computer equipment or something other related to coronavirus, and then we could then, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Margie, but then we could set aside a certain amount, or we could go through with our process and get reimbursed for our expenses, and then the remaining balance then could be divvied up to the businesses. Now, when it is dispersed to the businesses, that's going to fall in the hands of the EDC if we choose to go that route, which is, I would be in favor of that, if that answers your question.
Nathan, this is Justin, too. I had some points to make, too.
Okay, go ahead, Justin.
So did anyone attend that Department of Commerce and State Auditor's Office call on Monday? No, okay. So they had an hour presentation, which is available online. You can replay it. They had 3 cities on there. They had the city of Spokane Valley, they had the city of University Place, and they had the city of Bremerton. And they all talked about various things that they're doing. They gave several examples of what they're doing internally and what they've done externally. I would strongly suggest that the council members go listen to that and read it, because you'll probably get a lot of ideas that will answer a lot of the questions that you guys can have, you can bring back then. To Margie's point and to Nathan's point about having them do it, having the EDC do it, I mean, I would agree based on the Commerce and the Department, the Auditor's Office, about the process it's going to be when it comes time for audit. They said you have to document. You have to document your decision making, you have to document your process, and you have to document your spending. So, to Peter's question about what we can use it for, it says that the quote is necessary costs as a result of COVID. So if it can fit in that, then it's reimbursable, except it cannot be used to supplant shortfalls. So if we had a shortfall in, say, utility revenue because people haven't paid, we can't use it for that. And we can't use it for things already budgeted for. So if we budgeted for a new lawnmower, we can't say that due to COVID, we need a new lawnmower and use it for that. But basically, it's pretty wide open what we choose as a city. So the other thing is a timing issue. As of right now, these funds have to be dispersed by October 30th, 31st. So if we do what Odessa did and put it in utility bills, I think they've already gone out this month. So David wanted to have the whole council deal with it, which is fine. So if we meet like we meet once a month in our next scheduled council meeting, we can all go through it. But that's why we have a committee the committee can bring stuff to the council. But then we're not going to be able to do anything until the next meeting, which is probably going to be in September. We can also do a public workshop, where no decisions are made, but we can meet all 5 of us plus the mayor at one time to go through this. want to abide by the OPA, we can only do 2 at a time. So that's why this existed before. That's why our committees, each committee only exists of 2 people plus the mayor, because we can't get around the Open Public Meetings Act. So if we want to have a public workshop to discuss this, we can. The school board does their workshops ahead of their regularly scheduled meeting, and we did that last year on a couple items where ahead of our regularly scheduled meeting, we spent an hour before our meeting and had a workshop. So I would maybe suggest that just from a timing issue, because if we do this in August and in our typical council fashion, we wait till the next time, that's going to be September, and we have to get something out, then it's going to be in the September bills. We're going to come up on October, and we're not going to be able to have the money spent. So that's just my suggestion about the timing. But I would also suggest that you guys go look at that information from. It's available on a replay. It's 1 hour long. It's not. They cut it off in an hour. But it gives you lots of ideas of what cities are doing. Like Nathan said, the IT stuff. People are buying laptops. They're doing stuff. Software upgrades so they can, like Margie said, so you can do Zoom meetings. So the council, instead of meeting by phone, if we can't meet in person, we can meet at least with computer technology and see each other and open that up to the public as well. So, and then at that public workshop, if we want to do that, we can also set some criteria, or like Margie gave us this blank thing. We can see if that's what works. We like it. We can discuss these things, but we can't meet, unfortunately, unless we have a public meeting or a workshop. We can't meet more than 2 people. So it's not meant to be leaving people out, but that's the committees that we have. Every committee that Nathan worked on this year and we worked on last year is 2 people each. That's not because we were trying to limit people, who knew what when. That's the state law. So, so Mayor, whatever you choose to do with us, if you want, is the budget, the budget committee for Stephen and I, since we started working on this, if you want us to bring stuff back, we can do that. We've emailed. I know we've emailed. There's been several emails. I have never heard one response to an email. So as much as people want to be informed and provide feedback, I've never heard feedback from anybody. So just keep that in mind too, Mayor, that what you want to do with us, because we can do this work, but if we're not going to get any feedback from anybody until the night of the council meeting and no one's read anything, I don't want to waste my time or Stephen's time going through all this, because we've already put in considerable hours going through this, but there's been zero response from anybody. So that's what I have to say, and I'll yield the floor.
Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate it, and I agree. I'm kind of going to look to the council for that, really what they want to do to get this done in a timely fashion. The one thing I'd tag on to what you said would be that if you guys do go and watch that replay of the update from the state auditor's office, the Department of Commerce, if you guys have ideas as far as the city goes, I'd like to hear those too. Whether this be ideas of what we could use the money for, or if you have an allotted amount that you think that we should, the city should use $5,000 and give the rest to the businesses, or whatever that split may be. I'd really like to hear those ideas of what we could use as a city, and then the split for the money. Also, and I'd say as of now, tonight, I'd like to hear what we'd like to do going forward to tag on to Justin, what Justin said about meeting, or how we want to go about that to include everybody, whether they want the committee to bring forth to the council, decide, or if we want to have a workshop, or how we want to go about that.
Nathan, may I ask Margie a couple questions?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Hi, Margie. Would you comment on what you feel is the urgency in a response to what Justin just said about how critical you would feel that it is that we come to a decision, and by what timeline generally?
Justin's correct that expenses have to be incurred on or before October 31st. So that means checks need to be written to businesses or, plexiglass reimbursed. When's your next council meeting? Next official council meeting?
It would
The
be
12th of August.
I think the idea of a public workshop and then right before your council meeting is a good one, honestly.
I concur.
Do a lot of advertising. Make sure you got posters at the post office. Recruit the chamber and the PDA to contact people on your behalf and make sure everybody that you can reach knows that you're having it. Document all of those attempts. And that sounds to me like a good idea because it's better than waiting another month.
This is
Okay, and my second question.
Go ahead, Steve.
Go ahead.
My second question, Margie, is how much pre-work did Odessa and other towns have to put into this? Because the impression that I've gotten from what you've had to say to us thus far over the now 3 meetings that we've discussed this is that the EDC largely takes care of all of the process of putting out the form and reviewing it, scoring it. I maybe am a little bit unclear as to whether we still have to make the final recommendation to act on, or we have to make a final approval on your recommendation, or whether we just completely turn it over to you guys and we give you a certain amount of money and you just do it end to end. But it sounds like to me there's not a lot of concern either way on our part once we give you guys a certain chunk of the funds to work with. Is that correct? And if not, can you please describe what pre-work is responsible for the council to do before making the decision on amount?
All the council has to do is decide that the amount of money you want to spend and that you're willing to turn it over to the EDC and we do the rest. Then you guys have to write the check. There's no way out of that. We can't write the checks and be reimbursed. You guys have to put through the A-19. But we will do everything in between.
Okay.
We
So
strongly feel that's the way to go, and I think that Commerce would agree with you because it takes that pressure off of the council.
right. Okay. So I will close my time of talking here to say that I guess if the council feels like we cannot come to an agreement on the split amount between what goes to the EDC and what is reserved for city expenses tonight, that's fine. But I guess I would just give some warning that I would come to our next meeting with the intention of making a motion to propose a certain amount. So, and that might get voted down. That's fine. Maybe other people would disagree with me, but I'm just giving the council members a heads up that I think our next meeting, in my opinion, is when this needs to be wrapped up. I was really very much hoping that this was going to be wrapped up tonight, but I want to give people the time they feel they need to make a responsible decision on the matter, but I do intend to make a motion next meeting if we cannot do that here tonight. So, I'm done.
I will add that you can change your, if you say, well, let's just, to get the ball rolling, let's say $15,000. And then you say you don't spend $10,000. You can always just add it to the pot. Or if you end up spending 12 and I get 13, that's still, as long as I haven't awarded it yet, that's fine. And I think an estimate, a strong estimate would be plenty. But it would have to be firmed up, eventually before any awarding went on.
Margin, you explained about Odessa. They're given roughly a 3-week window for people to apply. So if we were to do something like that and go ahead and make a motion tonight to award a certain or to allow a certain amount of money for the EDC to have to work with, and then we say in a week or even on the 12th before that we had their workshop and decided that a different amount was necessary either way, do you feel like that would be enough time to be able to allow that to happen? Say if we gave $15,000 and then we decided, well, all have been awarded yet.
Right. It's not going to get awarded in for, a 3-week window for applications gives you 3 weeks to firm it up. What I would say is probably if you do the public workshop on August 12th, I would say I would come with applications, or I would provide you with applications and start getting them out there. And hopefully businesses would come to hear what you have to say at the workshop, and then have some at City Hall. Maybe that's the kickoff of the application period.
Okay.
I agree with you, Margie.
Say again, David?
I agree with Margie. I think we do need that workshop and get it kicked off. I think we'll have a better handle of it. I think the meeting of the minds will come up with an answer.
Okay, does the council feel like tonight that they'd be comfortable with making an amount available, preliminary right now to be available to be dispersed, knowing that we can then change that at our workshop before our next regular meeting?
I say yes.
I say yes, maybe half.
That's what I was thinking. I think half is pretty conservative and gives us a lot of room to swing.
Yeah,
I'd agree with you. Give it up.
Okay. Justin, how do you feel about that? What is half for now?
That works for me.
Question on your statement, Nathan.
Yeah.
Do we have a list of qualifying causes or recipients of that money, of the half that EDC would disperse? What could those funds be used for?
I think, Peter, the
I can't
advantage is
answer
in not knowing. Because if we know, there's a chance of us being prejudiced in a way. So I think the advantage is in not knowing where that's going, if I'm understanding the benefits that Margie's been outlining for us.
You're absolutely right, and you don't need to provide me with a list. We need to make sure that every business within the city limits has an opportunity to apply, and then it's part of my job to make sure that they are a legal business, that they are eligible for the funding, and then they will have to sign that they have made the eligible expenses that this would technically reimburse. So it's operational expenses, it's rent, it's mortgage, if the mortgage is in the business name only, it's business vehicle transportation expenses like, plumbing service trucks, maintenance, that type of thing. It's supplies for restaurants, it's inventory, utility bills, consulting expenses, and marketing expenses are all eligible expenses.
And you would be charged with the record of all this. We would
Correct.
have to keep record of that. Okay.
You're right, for 7 years.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
And we are experienced in this, so we're not experienced with federal funds, but we're experienced in granting state funds.
I hear you. Okay.
So, Margie, this is Peter Davenport speaking. You would make the decision as to who the recipient should be. You would give a list of those recipients and the amounts they're to receive to the city, and the city would write checks. Am I correct in my understanding?
Correct.
Okay.
And then if you choose to make changes, then you're taking on the fall, if there is any, fallout. But keep in mind that we also have a good idea of who has already received some funding from this pot. So that helps too.
Are they eligible for any more from this thing?
Yes.
You mentioned.
They are.
Okay.
Businesses can apply for multiple grants, and they can receive multiple grants as long as they have the receipts for expenses to back them up. Once they've received more than $5,000, then when they go for a second grant, they need show, say they go for another $5,000 grant, then they're going to have to produce $10,000 worth of expenses incurred since March 1st through October 31st. So that's kind of how that goes.
This is Peter again. I have another question for Margie. What would happen to any extra funds that are not dispersed or cannot be dispersed for want of proper documentation? Do they go back to the state then?
If you mean if a business doesn't meet the criteria or the funding in general,
like disperse the entire 25,000, if we can't find enough recipients for the entire 25,000, then do the extra funds go back to the state?
I only as a last resort. If there's not enough grant applications to send it, then I would say you need to buy laptop, Zoom software, whatever you can.
We gotta find
whatever you need that you can come up with.
Okay, thank you.
I don't want to see any money go back to the state.
Yeah, and I think we'd be able to find plenty of expenses to the city. Say if we gave Margie an allotted amount and their recommendation was short of that amount to small businesses, and we agreed with that, then I think the city would be able to then be able to produce more expenses themselves.
Okay, that clarifies it. Thank you.
By cleaning.
Margie, this is Justin. I had a question too for you.
Okay.
So if an applicant's already received money from a different pool that you guys have administered, or somebody else, and they've received CARES funds. So say this time though, they have $393.77 in qualified bills, or expenses. So those are still, they can still be awarded that. You guys, I mean, that's still something they may be awarded for if they've received money from before, but they still now have not the full $1,000 or $5,000 or whatever that number is. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Long as they can produce invoices to show they really paid those expenses, and you're reimbursing them for them, that is correct. And I will say that there is more money coming down the road. I know that my organization is getting more money from Commerce that they want us to distribute. So, to be honest, I hope that our businesses do get more than one award. It's been a very long 5 months with very limited revenue for most of our businesses. And I hope we can award them more than one.
Do we have a motion?
As long as we do it legally.
This is Justin. I'll make the motion.
Okay, could you state that motion, Justin, for us?
The city of Harrington allocates 50% of its CARES funds, or $12,500, to delegate to the Lincoln County EDC to distribute to Harrington businesses.
David seconded.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Slack and a second by Councilmember Budrius. Discussion.
Then would the city, this is Peter, would the city then tacitly be authorized to distribute meeting 12.5?
I didn't catch all that question, Peter.
Would the city, my question pertains to the $12,500 that is not allocated to the EDC. Would the city retain the authority for dispersing that $12,500?
So the remaining $12,500 is what we would allow for city expenses itself. So we would then incur those costs, and
the 12,500 that is not being allocated to the EDC. Is that the case?
Yes, correct, for the city itself.
Well, for the city's coffers.
Yes, that would be our allotted amount of money spent through the city for incurred expenses that we would have. So right now we're splitting it and giving the city 12,500 to spend on their incurred expenses and 12,500 for the businesses. And as Margie said, we can change that number again at our workshop. Say we need more or less, we can change that again just because of the timeline for the application process.
That clarifies it. Thank you.
Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor of motion on the floor signify by saying aye.
Levi, aye.
Stephen, aye.
Okay, I think I got Peter, Levi, and Stephen.
David is aye.
Okay, thank you. Justin?
I'm waiting.
Okay. All
Is Justin not voting?
correct. All opposed signify by saying aye. Any abstentions?
This is Justin. I'm going to abstain. I wish to be recorded, please.
Got it.
Okay. Thank you, council. Motion passes 401 with recorded abstention. Thank you, council. Okay. This time, I'd say, is there any other discussion? That was our main purpose of the meeting. Anything else from the council?
Just a thank you to Margie Hall.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. Appreciate all your help and all your work, Margie.
Thank you, and I'm happy to do it, and I would like to just mention that it'd be great if someone from Harrington could join the commissioners meeting at 9:30 Monday morning and hear about the next money you're going to get from CDBG.
I'll be on.
Okay, I'll make note of that.
I'll be on there, Margie.
9:30 on Monday meeting.
Monday, 9:30 Zoom, and I think, Janice, did I send you the Zoom invite?
Yes, I'll be on.
Okay, great. So if anybody needs that, you can contact me or Janice if you need the code to get on. And I will get off now, and I thank you all very much.
Thanks, Margie.
Okay, thank you again, Margie. Appreciate it.
Hey, Nathan, this is Justin. Can we request that the clerk send that email to all the council members then too, so we have access to it?
I'll do that tomorrow.
Absolutely. Janice, send that out?
I will do that tomorrow.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. Any
Question,
public comment
Nathan.
time?
This is Peter.
Yeah, go ahead, Peter.
With regard to the work session, somebody suggested that it could be held on the day of our regularly scheduled meeting, the 12th of August. My impression is it would be better to have a work session the week before to allow citizens to come in and hear what we've learned and get their applications ready in time for the August 12th meeting. Is there any sense to that in the opinions of the council members?
Yeah, I'd leave that up to the council for that. I think as we were kind of going originally, was maybe just prior to that meeting on the same day, but if you guys would like to meet a previous day or maybe a week before, that's totally up to the council.
Nathan, this is Justin. Is it still, isn't the meeting, whatever the thing, we can't meet in person, doesn't that go through like August 6th right now, or some?
It does. Yeah, I think August 6th is the day that the waivers for the OMCA and the public records waivers are extending through. So, and I don't know what none of us know what they're going to do at that point. So there's a chance maybe they allow us to meet at that point, or maybe they just extend it.
The other thing is, I guess, is to Peter's point, I don't think it hurts us to have it earlier than that night. But if we want to wait, we might be able to see what on the 6th what comes of it, and if nothing changes and we still can't meet, then we can. By that time, we might be able to do Zoom, and we can do that like maybe on Monday or Tuesday, and then have our regularly scheduled council meeting on Wednesday, be via Zoom or via this call, or just hold it all together.
Yeah, I agree.
Good point.
I don't honestly, in my opinion, foresee it dropping off. I think it's going to get extended, but waiting till then is not against my opinion either. Either way, I think if we meet a day before, a week before, or even just an hour or two prior to the meeting would be good. So that's up to the council as far as how they want to try to do that.
Do we have to have?
And then one more thing. Oh,
Go ahead, Justin.
yes. Two things. So yes, Peter, we do have to advertise the public workshop, but one of the speakers, the mayor from Spokane Valley, mentioned that they asked all of their council members to write down how they would allocate money. Whether it's, so we already know we've allocated half of this so far to EDC, but to come with something like that, like if it's computers or if there's, honey buckets, or, portable toilets, extra things like that, things of those types of nature, so we could come to that workshop with some stuff already in mind ahead of time, so we're not starting from scratch at that workshop. And whatever that may be, you could bring in a list of 10 things or one thing, but at least come to that, kind of like what Stephen said earlier, come prepared to make some decisions, or to be able to then, the following meeting, we can vote on things.
Good suggestion.
Go ahead, Peter.
I was just commenting. It was a good suggestion. And
Oh,
Justin
okay.
anticipated my question with regard to the work session.
Okay, so it sounds like we may want to wait till the 6th and see what happens with those waivers for the open public meeting, and then, that's a Thursday, so if it is extended then for, say, another month, and we know that we're going to have to meet some other means, either Zoom or a conference call or some other means of meeting in person, that would give us Friday, then in lieu of the 48-hour notice, then we could put out a notice whether we want to meet the day before or just before our regular meeting on the 12th. That's what I'm understanding.
Yeah, Nathan, I think this is Justin. I think, too, depending on when that order comes out from the governor, which I think they have been coming out mid-afternoon, like 3 o'clock. If it comes out at 3 o'clock on Thursday, if we posted it Thursday night, 48 hours would be Monday night. So we could do something Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday if in fact, it follows that, if it comes out in the afternoon or something. He doesn't usually, thus far, his stuff hasn't come out after 5. It's usually been before 5. So.
Okay, well, I agree. I know everyone's getting busy, but let's plan on doing that then, and we'll plan on either meeting Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday for that public workshop to try to get some stuff kind of lined out and finalized. That kind of gives a window rather than a single day and time, but if that works best for everybody.
Well, it's going to have to work. Yeah, this is urgent, so we'll just make it work.
But Nathan, this is Justin too. So both you and David, I know for sure, are doing will probably be doing harvest. So we have to. I know in previous years, we've held council meetings in the summer, when like at 8 or 8:30 at night. Like when we used to meet at 7:30, and so due to harvest, we would start an hour later. So obviously, based on your guys' schedules too, if that's something that we need to do, I mean, but we don't. You guys know better than we do, so I think you'll just have to, as it gets closer, obviously reach out to everyone and see. Especially, I think if the workshop is separate than the meeting, obviously it'll be easier than trying to do a council meeting starting at 8:30 with the workshop. I think a lot of people probably, just be a long day. So that's your call, but just keep that in mind for you and David.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate it. My boss is going, and David, I think your boss is pretty easy going.
Yeah. I argue with him all the time.
Okay. Well,
that's a good point there. As far as the public and everything like that. So probably a little later wouldn't hurt.
and so if we were to meet either in the same night or two separate nights, which sounds like kind of what we want to do at this point going forward, then later is definitely going to be better then.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to play.
Go ahead.
We'll just have to play it by ear, unfortunately, and kind of once we get closer to that time on the 6th, hopefully we find out exactly what route we need to take, and then we can, I can call a meeting and make something happen for later in the evening for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it'll work.
Okay.
Since our work is done,
Yeah.
move to adjourn.
Okay, let's make sure there's no public comments here, Peter, and then we can do that.
This is Chris Meets. I appreciate all the effort you guys are going through on this. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Chris. Any other public comment? Okay. Hearing none, Peter, go ahead and restate your motion.
Move to adjourn.
This is Levi. I'll second.
Okay, any discussion on the journey? All in favor signify by saying aye.
This is Levi. Aye.
Peter says aye.
Okay, I got Levi and Peter.
David says aye.
David, thank you.
Steven, aye. Justin said aye too.